Happy InfoComm Thursday and welcome to AV Unplugged on Avixa TV. It's been a pretty raucous week so far at InfoComm, and one of my favorite parts of the week every year is the opportunity to learn about the latest and greatest technologies and innovators in the industry. And a highlight of the show floor is here at the Avixa AV studio. What I love about podcasting, we're in this really awesome podcast setup. What I love about podcasting is the ability to cultivate conversations with like-minded people in the AV industry. So I'm your host, Matt Pana, Assistant Director of Media Technology at ISDA. I know it's a mouthful. I manage all the AV collaboration technologies for our firm in New York City. Today we have Drew Lobley from Paladin and David Lopez from MediaCentric from the Systems Integrators Council and the ITS subcommittee at Avixa. How's the week been so far, guys?
Oh, it's been an absolutely great week here at InfoComm 2025. So my name's Drew. I'm one of the system integrators, and this is my cohort here from the ITS committee, David Lopez. So as a system integrator, we work with independent technical specialists. So that's exactly what David is. So welcome, David.
Yeah, thank you. David Lopez, founder and CEO of MediaCentric. But yes, excited. Always love InfoComm. I've been coming for decades, and great opportunity to network with customers, vendors, and just general industry folks. But thank you for having us, Matt.
Yeah, likewise. So describe the ITS and the subcommittee in general. How, if someone's new to Avixa or new to AV, how would you describe the subcommittee?
Sure. So the ITS Council stands for Independent Technical Services Council, and it represents a whole host of different professional services companies that range, labor installation, like fixed installation, commissioning, programming, technical writing, design work, CAD, acoustics. I know there's live events. There's many more, but it represents a whole host of professional services that provides subcontract work to integrators, some distributors, some manufacturers.
And how would you define or at least encapsulate the diverse membership? You have diverse members from all walks of life in the industry. How do they interact? How do they engage with the committee?
Sure. Well, we're actually global, right? So Avixa, we were our own council for many years, I think 17 or 18 years. But strategically, Avixa integrated us into the Integrators Council this year. So Avixa represents, there's a whole host of councils. I don't know exactly how many are, 7, 8?
I'm alone at the diversity
council. I've lost track. I was just at the women's
breakfast, right? Earlier?
Breakfast.
Yeah, it's morning.
So that was a great event.
I can tell when you're at an InfoComm, you see all the tags and all the ribbons, everyone's badges where they're representing. So I don't know how many ribbons you have, but yeah.
This year I took it easy, but generally there's a whole room there's a whole bunch to choose from, so you can add as many as you want.
Everyone's represented here at InfoComm, which is really awesome. Now, in terms of the engagement with these different diverse members of the committee, how do they interact? How are they involved? How do you get to know them on a personal level and a professional level?
Sure. Well, from the council standpoint, we meet monthly. So we always meet monthly, and it's a full collaborative video call, and there's full interactive collaboration about industry topics, best practices, how we can interact together. What are I'm new to the Integrators Council, but what are some other things?
Yeah, how about you, Drew?
On the integrator side?
Yeah. So like on the System Integrators Council, we've been meeting for several years now, and we're working towards different initiatives. So, part of them is how to best work with independent technical services, ITS members. So, what are the standards? What are the challenges? What are the benefits? What are some of the key takeaways in order to better work with the ITS members of our community?
Yeah. And how does the ITS serve not just Avixa, but just the AV industry at large? Do you cultivate conversations? Do you talk about key trends in your industry? How do you affect the industry at large through?
Well, as a system integrator, I don't think we could do it alone. We need, ITS. We need those independent technical people. It's almost impossible to have absolutely every, expertise and cover every geographic, location across all the areas that you want to serve as a system integrator.
Yeah. And any thoughts?
Yeah. So, basically we just completed 25 years in business. So as an employer perspective, thank you. As an employer perspective, you want to you want to minimize, too much staff, right? I mean, nowadays, one of the key metrics of business is revenue per employee, right? So if you have too many employees, I mean, there's two sides of the coin. If you have too many employees, not enough projects, then obviously you have a lot of indirect costs that are affecting budgets. But if you don't have enough employees and too many projects, then you're missing out on opportunities, missing out on, customer interactions, maybe geographically or through some subject matter expertise. So the ITS folks are a whole representation of all these different professional services that really supplement systems integrators so that they can hire just-in-time resources to, so without having them sit on the bench, not paying, all that cost of employee. I mean, payroll is one of the biggest expenses of any employer, right? So you got human resources costs, you got the supporting costs, you got the benefits. I mean, you name it, insurance continues to rise and expand. So for an integrator to be able to hire just in time for what they need is extremely strategic. And yes, there's a global community of ITS type providers that basically allow for this just in time as needed project type of engagements.
Yeah, well, I love the aspect and the emphasis on community. We can't do this alone, especially in this ever-growing world of AV and technology. Things change left and right. This is my third InfoComm, and so much has changed within 3 years, let alone, everything else in technology. So as we dive more deeper into the integrators challenge in this discussion, what are some pain points in terms of staff? We talked about staffing earlier. What are some pain points that you noticed with staffing? How does the committee, the subcommittee, and the council help calm those nerves and help you engage and learn how to engage with those situations?
I mean, I would say the pain points of working with subcontractors is, you really need to make sure that you go into it with a clear strategy. You need to make sure that you've got a plan before you start engaging. Just don't, charge ahead without that plan first in place. So, communicating to the subcontractor, the clear standards of what your company is, of what you as a system integrator are expecting from that independent technical specialist.
Yeah. And David, any thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, I mean, just a very clear defined scope, right? When we usually come to each other, they come to us with essentially some documented scope of what they need done. I mean, and the scope obviously could range through so many different things that I kind of talked about, the different supplementary services that ITS members are providing to integrators. But yeah, just vetting and having a good, vetting and managing the subcontractor or the particular resource. I mean, some of them aren't necessarily considered subcontractors, but freelancers or however you want to.
But they're all in kind of that world of.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but vetting and managing. I mean, as long as we have a nice, clear scope together and we document. I mean, we usually receive something from them, and then we kind of reinterpret that into our own scope of work and then our own costs and pricing. So to the extent that we both can really document and communicate the needs, the specification, if you will, like if it was a product type of a specification and it was some bid or some quote that you were going after and you had a very detailed product specification, then only certain manufacturers, only certain products are going to be able to deliver to that specification. So that's a key important thing together. And then of course regular communication and feedback.
Communication is
bar none.
key.
Hey, yeah.
Yes.
Now, in terms of discerning between when you're integrating and you're working with these different qualified technicians, how do you discern who is qualified, who has the skill sets? Are they certifications? Are they through relationships? How do you discern who a qualified technician is and their specialized skill sets?
Yeah, from a system integrator perspective, working with a independent technical specialist, even though they are not an employee, it is like, onboarding a brand new employee. You need to get to know you need to get to know who they are. You need to get to know their skill set. And, that can be a little bit of a process. It's definitely an investment. So I would say, just take on that investment, get to know who they are. You get to know them as a company, get to know them, the individuals, the resources that make up those independent technical specialists.
Yeah. How about you, Dave?
Yeah, I would say one of the things I recommend to our integrator customers, newer ones and existing ones, large and small, is, a lot of them have a finely tuned onboarding process. So they vet us, with specifics to, what our qualifications are, insurances, like time in business, longevity, the amount of staff,
That builds
geography.
trust at the end of the day, too.
100%.
Yeah.
But that's, just like any employee, if you're vetting for a specific talent as an employee looking for an FTE, you're going to have a job description. You know what it is you're looking for. You know whether or not they have the qualifications, and then even through verification of some things. So, there's a whole host of things, especially, we're the guys doing the work. So, I mean, sometimes it's the writing or it's the computer work and it's more of the smarts. Other times it's physically on site. So we bear they are transferring risk to us in terms of insurances, workman's comp, cyber, errors and emissions, general liability, umbrella. I mean, you name it from the insurance side, but then also licensings, business license, contractor's license. I mean, and then just the host of certifications that might be needed for again, we talked about scope earlier, the specific scope of what it is. If Drew's putting something out there that has, DV LED video wall and then a certain control system and a certain signal distribution component to it, then he's going to make sure that the folks that are working with him have the expertise to be able to handle that, right? Not just anybody that has tools.
Yeah, any risk, any relationship requires risk. No matter any kind of corporate relationship, any business relationship. Drew, any thoughts on that as well?
Yeah, just making sure that all of those bases are covered. It helps to, and to your point, de-risk, the whole project.
Mm-hmm. Now, in terms of how projects ramp up and down and the challenges faced with that, how do you meet project demands, and how does the council and subcommittee help meet those demands and help you traverse that territory, so to speak?
You want to start with that one? Because it's come from your perspective, I think.
Yeah. So, I would say invest in great project management. Make sure you've got a great project manager running the show. They've got that plan in place. They're able to work with the ITS member and implement that project plan so that ultimately you'll be able to see success with that project. So yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, from the ITS perspective, from my perspective, as the provider, I mean, they're technically the customer, we're the vendor, right? So we try to make sure that we are well prepared, capable, and credible to perform the work that they want done. So for us, that means a lot of times, a lot of different certifications, and even those certifications change, right? Every 2, 3, 4, 5 years, manufacturers and different products and different strategies, even on content writing or technical writing and marketing strategies. Those things change, right? They're always evolving. So we have to keep up, and I have to invest in that employee training, employee education. So there's a lot that we have to do to just be prepared and ready for what they have for us, and to maintain that over long periods of time.
Yeah, and preparation is so key, especially in this line of work. So just to reiterate, we have Drew Lobley representing the Systems Integrators and David Lopez representing the Independent Technical Services Subcommittee.
Yes, sir.
So diving, as we kind of get to the middle point here in terms of pain points, define any, or tell me more about some concerns about managing subcontractors in this line of work. How do you manage them effectively? How do you engage with them, subcontractors?
Well, I don't want to, repeat myself, but, communication again. And I know David has got some great software with MediaCentric that helps with that communication level, to be able to communicate all the different nuances of what you need to work with the project. So making sure, there's a robust contract in place with your ITS members. So, we know where the division of responsibilities is between the main system integrator technicians and the ITS contractors that we're working with.
Yeah. Any thoughts on that, David?
Yeah, I would say, everybody has their own, there's all kinds of different sizes represented. Sometimes with the ITS, there's single individuals, right? Single freelancers or single consultants. If you want to consider consultants all the way up to large organizations with lots of employees. So everybody has their own system and workflow that they engage with. Sometimes it's, just good documentation, whether, spreadsheets and documents, but then certain, shared drives, right? I mean, in any number of ways. And then others have platforms. We actually created our own platform about 5 years ago. So we manage all the projects that we do fixed firm quotes through our own platform, and then they have the integrator, whoever it is that we're working with, has full visibility. They have their own logins and full visibility of the project as well as archival going back. But I know we have great representation even on the smaller organizations that still have a great workflow. And again, as part of the vetting process, right, there's some of the ones that may not be the best choice for this line of work. Maybe they lack in some of those abilities or lack in the communication, and people are wondering what's going on when they're on site. So that's another way of vetting and managing, the best of the best versus, just maybe one that may not be fulfilling all what they need.
Yeah, well, I love how you're tying in vetting and visibility. But we need to have a transparent approach to how we do work in all lines of AV. So I know we talked about this earlier, and I actually did some research on the System Integrators Committee and the ITS. How would you define the staff to peak model? Can you school me on that? I was doing some research. What is a staff to peak model?
Yeah, so staffing to peak, if as a system integrator, if you are staffing, you have a surge in projects throughout a certain period of the year,
yeah,
and you're staffing, you're hiring all that staff for your maximum amount of the year. During the downtimes, during the slower periods of that year, you've got all these additional, resources as a system integrator that are being underutilized. Maybe they're, sweeping the parking lot or cleaning out the vans. That's not generating revenue as a system integrator. So, being able to, staff to a median level or even a lower level and use ITS members in order to help us, hit those surges. So if we, land a massive, multi-million dollars, scope or, a huge project, we can call on our, subcontractors, our independent technical specialists in order to help us be able to take that on. So it takes the resources and changes it to more of a variable cost instead of a fixed cost.
Yeah.
So ultimately, it's going to drive, more revenue. It's going to show more profit as a system integrator.
Yeah, it takes a village, especially with all this going on. So, David, any thoughts? Yeah.
Well, it's illustrated as like a sine wave, right? So staffing for the peak is at the times of the year that you're up here, right? But then you come down and you're gonna have lower amount of work potentially. Now, every integrator is going to want to have a good consistent amount of work.
Yeah.
A good backlog that's always there. But yeah, I've often say, staff for the averages and then, supplement for the peaks so that, and I know some customers that stay way down. I mean, they stay at 20, 30% of their own full-time employees to staff what they're doing at any given time. And they supplement a fair amount, but then it comes to the managing the vet, making sure you vetted the right resources, and then you're managing that. But then it's all about, like everybody says all the time, you hear this everywhere, it's all about relationships, right? So you build the relationships, you build an institutional knowledge together. We get to know, the integrators and how they work and their employees. They get to know us. We become like an extension of them. And so that adds a lot of, just like an employer-employee. I mean, you have these relationships that build within the organization, and, friendships develop, community, like you talked about earlier, develops, but that you can still have that as well with the overall ITS, the integrator to the supplementary professional services, folks as well.
Yeah. Well, it comes to relationships, we mentioned risk, but also relationships, professional relationships, they take time. You have to let them breathe and also be able to build that trust over time. Now, when it comes to these missed opportunities due to maybe lack of specialized expertise or maybe lack of discernment, how would you engage and how does the committee resolve that in this challenge? How do you handle maybe some employees or technicians that may not have all the right skill sets to achieve a certain job?
Yeah, so part of that is not just not having all of the right skill sets as a system integrator. It's also expanding beyond the geography of where those offices are as well. So we may have, and I know at Paladin Technologies we have a lot of specialists that are more focused on security in some of our offices, while some of our offices have more of an AV focus. So we can, engage with independent technical services in those areas where we need maybe more security scope, or we need more audiovisual scope, or, hey, maybe we just need people to pull some cable and do some pre-wire work for us. So, general contractors work with subcontractors all the time. It's a normal thing. So for, an AV integration company, for a system integrator, it should be, a natural thing for them to be working with ITS and with subcontractors.
Yeah, I mean, that's honestly part of the risk that we bear. That's part of the value proposition that we are often, trying to sell to the integrators and again, distributors and manufacturers. But we really take on the burden of a lot of staffing of the employees. And this is not, you walk this show, look at all that technology. Yeah. I mean, us that are supplementary services, we're supposed to know and be, subject matter expertise on all the stuff that's on this entire show floor. So we take on a lot of burden of training, whether it's manufacturer training or our own training. A lot of us have our own programs and training programs that we've developed ourselves, which is hands-on. I mean, obviously the install side is a lot of hands-on work. So we have our own, certification of our own guys that we bring through, and they're working for weeks in our office with tools and learning the trade, but then it still takes time to develop that. It could take 6-12 months plus easy at the higher, more advanced services that the ITS councils will provide. I mean, we have folks that have been doing this for decades. I mean, literally veterans of the industry. That's awesome. And that's available. So I mean, for the integrator, for Drew to be able to tap into that just in time, right? If he needs that veteran expert for a month or a couple of weeks or a week or 6 months, he doesn't have to try to hire and build that. He can now go to the pool of talent and say,
get those ideas across.
It's a huge
conversation going.
It's a huge benefit. We don't have to invest that cost in that specialized training.
Yeah.
So we're working on a few stadiums which have very specialized sound systems for those stadiums, and we can engage with specialized people that specialize specifically on those products, without having to spend the months or perhaps years on training and investment, which represents, multiple, tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah. Well, it's great that we could actually have this conversation from varying levels of experience in the industry, but you'd also have this even playing field with these councils where you'd have these dynamic discussions. So I think it's all about equipping ourselves with the right skill sets and equipping ourselves with the right conversations to have. So let's dive into the ITS provider advantage, right? Let's dive into the breadth of services beyond just labor. Can you dive more into technical design, programming, consulting? How does that engage in the actual group and committee?
Well, I mean, again, it's what they need for the time. I mean, CAD drawings. I mean, engineering. If they need supplementary design and engineering, or they need, again, a specific, like Drew just mentioned, large stadiums. I mean, maybe they only see a large. I mean, I don't know for sure, but maybe they only see a large stadium or once every couple of years, maybe one or two per year.
Minimal.
So that expert, for them to staff that expert that can do that, but he's only utilized in that specific field, 2 months out of the year. I mean, that's a bit of a waste of their talent, so he can get it just in time. But if we all look at this as really, I mean, we can get lost in the technical details about what it is that we can offer, but the reality is it's as business consulting, and this is meant for the business of the integrator. It helps be more profitable. I mean, manage the business, run the business more efficiently. If they don't have to, again, I know an integrator customer that has no technicians at all, and they rely 100% solely. And he often talks about, I mean, they're a very big integrator, but they talk about the less burden it is to them as an organization overall, like the management of all that staff, the operations of all that staff, the human resources of all that staff, the insurances, the benefits. I mean, you name it. I mean, there's, for every 10, 20, every dozen, 2 dozen, 3, 4 dozen technicians and field workforce. I mean, that's a lot more demand on the organization. So if you don't have to, I mean, everyone's talking about in business right now, and it's been for a long time, but fractional this and fractional that, fractional accounting, fractional IT, fractional sales. I mean, fractional is everywhere right now, and there's all kinds of companies that offer these fractional services. Well, that's essentially what the ITS is to manufacturers, distributors, and integrators, manufacturers, distributors, is we are fractional resources, and it helps them to be more profitable and more, capable as a business to do other things, right? They can grow, they can acquire, they can do what they need to grow, and just can supplement faster business workflow, right?
Yeah. And any thoughts on that, Drew?
Yeah, no, David explained it quite well. I would just say, as a system integrator, if you're going to rely almost solely on ITS and subcontractors for all of that deployment work, I would say you need to put your investment in the project management, the process, make sure the standards, everything is documented right there. And that will almost assure like a way better outcome if you have that proper planning in place.
When you have proper planning, you have to also take into account scalability, sustainability. So what should we take into account beyond just labor to what's sustainable and scalable in the workforce with talent?
I'm not sure I answered that one. What's sustainable? I mean, you have to keep up with the details. I mean, you've got to be able to stay relevant, stay sustainable. You've got to keep up on all these technical nuances and the workflow, documentation, the workflow, communication. I mean, that is the reality of it. I mean, with any business, you got, especially a tech business, right? I mean, things can change every 6 months. Yeah. So you just, to stay sustainable, I think you have to stay relevant. You just got to keep up on the details. I mean, I'm constantly looking out ahead, 6 months, 12 months, 18, 24.
It's an ongoing thing.
And I get, that's part of the relationship, right? Some of that feedback I get from Drew or I get from our customers. We're constantly talking to each other like, what's coming for you? What are needs that are coming for you so that I can prepare behind the scenes? Like if there's some certain product, like a big one for us because we're doing technical work, is like, hey, can you give me an idea of what's coming in terms of a new technology, or maybe because of this particular industry situation or, product procurement. Well, post-pandemic, we had a lot of issues with supply chain issues, and so people were adjusting to what was available. But sometimes that means for us, we have to then work with some different products that maybe we weren't traditionally working for.
Pivot,
exactly. Pivot. So the more that they can forecast to us the needs they have, and then we can, I guess it kind of does come back to the sustainability of keeping us sustainable and relevant to what they need.
Yeah.
As a system integrator, working with ITS is our plan of sustainability. It costs thousands of dollars to onboard a new employee, to onboard a new ITS, company. That's basically the same amount as onboarding one single employee.
It's an even playing field.
It helps us scale to those projects that we need. It helps us, scale back when we need. That is our plan.
Yeah. So we also mentioned vetting and scope. How do we discern a clear scope and vocational fit when establishing these members of the committee and people in the industry? How do you establish that clear scope and vocational fit for those that want to join it?
We really want to make sure that we understand the capability and the capacity of the ITS. What technical expertise they have, the experience. We want to also clearly, put down in that scope what the warranty is on everything. So we're communicating a scope to our ITS member. We're also communicating a scope to our client. So the scope to the client is, one sort of, beast. And then the scope to the ITS member, what we're expecting from them, is part of that agreement, part of that sustainability for being able to have a successful project.
And for us, I mean, it's a specification. I mean, just like a bid, these folks integrators are used to responding to a bid or an RFP or whatever that maybe a consultant did, or maybe the customer did, or maybe it's design build on their part. But there's a clear cut written specification for what's needed. So even in technical writing or marketing or whatever, they could be a scope that Drew writes that says, I need you to do X, Y, and Z, and I need you to write it this way, and this is how you have to, really respond in detail. If it's programming, often we're looking for a programming scope. So sometimes there's a physical scope, like here's the bill of materials, here's a scope of work of how we want you to install, this particular device on the wall or these things in the ceiling. But then there's also how you want it to function. I mean, the more that they can give us a written scope with regards to how it functions and how it's supposed to, like the UX and the UI experience, then our programmers or commissioners, and again the council is representative of a lot of guys that just do programming or just consulting. And so again, it just boils down. It's I don't want to be Captain Obvious, but it just boils down to a real nice, quick written scope of work, and those could be templatized, right? They can have
that gets automated
generally
nowadays too. Yeah,
exactly. AI, all this automation workflow. I mean, generative AI and other things. There's all kinds of stuff.
Keeping that scope is also, this is going to be a recurring part of the discussion, but keeping that scope gives that even playing field where you're able to have those expectations met and build and maintain those client relationships. So in terms of those client relationships, how do you find it best to manage expectations with those clients? How do you respect that integrator-client dynamic through the committee, through the subcommittee. Yeah.
You know, especially on the larger projects, we are 100% transparent with all of our clients. We are engaging with these sub-trades. We are engaging with these independent technical specialists. And when they find out that we're engaging with this specialist in this certain field, it actually gives our clients more confidence to work with us because they know, hey, they recognize that they're not an expert at a specific thing, and they're bringing in the expert. They have the relationship. They know how to work with this expert in order to execute this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we definitely like that. We love when we can be ourselves with regards to the project, but there's also another side where folks want us to represent them, and we're more white labeled, you know. So there is
on the T-shirt.
There is the side of us being white labeled, and we definitely respect because we don't work. Majority of the ITS, I mean, that's why we're called independent technical services. Our customers are the integrators, distributors, and manufacturers. Our customers are not the end customers. So for us to make it, we have to really respect their client. So, I mean, we don't talk about, you know, who it is. You know, we're there representing them, but we're with their client on site
And respecting that healthy boundary. Yeah, exactly.
We don't talk about it. We don't promote it. I mean, our techs aren't out there on social media. They get slapped if it happens to sneak out, but they're not out there saying I'm at XYZ company, you know, some high profile thing. I mean, it's usually on their MSAs that we can't, you know, promote those kind of things. But that's also how we, you know, we thrive, and they earn their trust in us because we just respect their client. We're trying to serve them so that they can serve their client. We both are serving their client, but all of our interactions are with, you know, say Drew and not Drew's customer, for example.
Yeah. Also, making sure they're able to choose, and that ability to choose, that comes from having an informed decision. And it also comes from that relationship as well. So I love how I think one of you mentioned being the extension of the integrators team. So how do you incorporate that mindset without being an obstacle or preventing that kind of work? How do you, I know you mentioned the extension of being a part of that team. How do you be that without forming a boundary or becoming an obstacle to the work?
Well, for us, it comes with time. You know, again, I have a 25-year perspective, so it's in our DNA. I mean, we, you know, from the beginning, it becomes built in over time, right? We have biweekly tech calls. I mean, it's just internally with just our organization, but it just becomes part of the DNA. I mean, in the ITS Council, like when we were our own council, and even now as a subcommittee, I mean, it's a normal topic. It's a common theme within all of us. So it's just kind of one of those learned institutional things that comes about over time, that we just know that we understand our role in things. And sometimes I will say, but to at least add a fringe nuance, is there are times when they very much do promote us with the end customer. And there is that open relationship that, hey, you know, just like you mentioned, a general contractor is going to hire the electrician, going to hire the drywaller, the painters, the security prim, whatever, all the low voltage technologies that are amongst this space. So, you know, there are times we can be ourselves, but still everybody knows that, you know, they are the prime contractor. So,
yeah. And Drew, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, you know, a lot of times when we are asking, ITS to put on that shirt for us, it's going to be for those service level agreements. So they're going out there, they're representing, they're making sure that, you know, our customers are kept happy year after year, month after month, you know, day after day. And by working with the ITS like that, we can expand our geography. So we've got, you know, a greater footprint. So if we're going out and we're doing a restaurant or we're doing a hotel in a city that we don't have a centralized office in, that's where we can call in ITS. They'll throw on the T-shirt. They'll represent my company. Yeah. And they'll keep our client happy.
And you trust them. They're vetted. They're reliable.
Exactly. We can trust them. So
yeah. And we're talking about the successful integrator ITS partnerships as we're kind of winding down here. I want to dive into some case studies and some maybe client testimonies. What have been some like success stories being able to work with these various amounts of these diverse talents in these different parts of the country, different cities? How has that been? Any positive client testimonies?
I'll let you start.
Yeah. So I mean, right now I'm working on a large project, and it requires a very specialized sound system in a stadium. And this specialized sound system, one of the biggest experts across the world on this, happens to work with a very well-known singer. Summer of '69 is one of his hits. Yeah. So
Catch a Drift.
Yeah, he's done audio for him, and he's considered an expert within this product range. And so we reached out and we partnered with him. And being a partner with him is what helped us win that project. So, having that independent technical specialist is, that's where it's a huge advantage to us as a system integrator.
Yeah. So, David, any thoughts?
Yeah, well, you talk about being built in our DNA. I mean, even you asked that question, and the reality is I have more NDAs that I don't even, I can't even count.
NDAs in your DNA.
So I can't, yeah, exactly. So I can't even speak to any specific client or project, other than generally speaking. I mean, I have a perspective of, I think I calculated it. If you count service calls too, we probably have over 50,000, 60,000, projects in the whole 25 years in business. So anywhere that we have been able to be preemptive and we were part of the project, I mean, sometimes the engagement is staff augmentation. So we are there just assisting, Drew's leads, or, whether the lead or the project manager or the commissioner programmer, they're on site and we have techs that are assisting that. So obviously then we're very much a backseat. We're supporting them. They're giving us our direction. But the times, other times when we have a broader scope and we are doing project coordination on site, or we have the leads or certain project engineering, or any kind of preemptive milestone, like say we need to, it's a bigger project and we have certain milestones and predecessing action items that others need to do, other trades, whether mill workers, electricians, general construction, or even, the end customer networks being up, networks being online and ready for us to connect all these devices and set things up. I mean, anywhere where we have a bigger, a bigger scope to where we can preemptively come
influence
in.
On all those.
Thank you. That's a great way. Yeah, bigger influence. Then any time that we can come in ahead of time and preempt some shortcoming. I mean, that's the success story. But so the reality is, I mean, I can, if you talk to our customers, I mean, they talk about a lot of times that we come in and really assist them because we are pivoting. We're on site, with the details, and then pivoting to some other action item or milestone or something that then had to move from today to Friday, or turn today to Monday because of whatever reason. So just a lot of success stories. And then other times we're providing that feedback back, and then they're taking the action item and the deliverables to make the change, influence the change that needs to happen.
Yeah. But collecting that feedback is so important, especially in the whole project management space. And we talked about project management earlier, and I kind of hinted at AI. I know we're not supposed to, everyone talks about AI. It's always a buzzword, but in terms of project management, documentation, collecting feedback, how do you leverage AI to be able to make that job easier? Because collecting feedback, collecting that data from any kind of project, it takes a lot of time, right? So how do you handle that?
I mean, right now on those relationships, I'm using AI to be almost like a secondary peer review. It's going in there and I'm asking it, hey, are there any holes in this scope? Are there, any spelling errors? Oh boy.
Yeah. The basics, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, the reality is that, the things that we do is very technical, and there is a long lead time to get somebody up to speed, or at least in a rhythm. Mm-hmm. So, we're dabbling in using AI in terms of taking our subject matter expertise, not just on the technical side, but as a business. Mm-hmm. I built the home, so I know these things kind of flow off of me, off the top of my head. Yeah, but I still have a lot of employees, especially the new. I mean, our industry is always talking about the next generation, how to build. We need more skilled workers. America, let alone the world, needs it overall, no matter what it is, across all kinds of industries. But in our industry, we talk about the need for the next generation of upcoming skilled workers, whether it's on the install side, the technical side. I mean, look at these folks here and what they're doing as far as operating, controlling broadcast class. That's a whole nother world, a whole nother show, right? With regards to all that,
with a whole list of needs and wants.
Exactly. So we're using AI to, quite honestly, capture a lot of whether video or audio or my writings and stuff over time, and to develop, engines that then help
training
a workflow for the next generation. Yeah.
Very soon in the future, we're going to have AI agents, which are going to be starting to act like employees. They're going to be that administrative assistant that
the new middleman
or that I need in order to help negotiate those contracts, those terms. So there's AI is definitely a massive disruptor.
Yeah. But to bring it back to the human side of project management, right? Transparency and accountability, consistency on that front is very key. So how do we ensure a human sense of transparency and accountability in the project management space?
let's beat a dead horse. Communication. You know,
there you go.
Communication.
Yeah, it's the word of the day. Yeah.
We need to talk. We need to keep those channels open. We need to make sure that we're having those regular meetings.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, for us, it's just one thing, an adjective that often comes to mind, we say and we promote is accountability. So for us, we're always accountable. I mean, if we make a mistake, if we broke something, if a technician drops something, I mean, we're notifying them first. They're not telling us. I mean, if they had a lead on site and he saw it happen, okay, we're both equal, right there, where they're doing it. But, we're very accountable. So the transparency you talk about, I think that's well represented in a lot of ITS. Now it's different, right? If somebody's doing CAD work or technical writing or something like that, I mean, their transparency might be that, hey, we realized we made a mistake on this particular set, Rev 3.2 of whatever we were writing. We missed something, and they didn't even catch it yet. And we created an update, and we preemptively sent it to them ahead of time, like, hey, we missed something. Here's your new set, and then they, so that would be a good example of transparency and preemptive accountability with regards to more of the smarts of something, or a programmer. Let's say a programmer missed some feature and nobody caught it. Sometimes you can have a system that gets turned up and they don't catch a bug for 3 months, 6 months into it. So anyways, but for us, it could be, we dropped something and something broke, and hey, sorry, Drew, we'll replace that for you.
Yeah,
so
I'll let you know, be transparent about it. Yeah. I think we mentioned being proactive as well, and having that second pair of eyes and ears on the ground or even virtually to help you engage. Now, as we kind of wrap up here, the long-term benefits of being able to join the council and the subcommittee, how would you pitch it to new young professionals in the AV industry that are just getting their feet wet? How would you explain that? How would you sell that? How would you define that for some new and up-and-coming future AV leaders?
The AVIXA System Integrators Council is it's part of a community, and we're thrilled to have the ITS subcommittee as part of us now. And I would say if you're a system integrator, make sure you sign up for the System Integrators Council. We're doing a lot of different initiatives, project management. We've got a document coming out on project management best practices for audiovisual. We've also got ITS subcommittee have got a matrix that shows skills matrix that show you how to select the right ITS members. So the audiovisual industry it's small. Globally, it's small, and there's lots of room. There's lots of opportunity out there, and we just need to. We all get along, and we're all going to be successful. It's going to be wonderful.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, for me, I would promote any new independent technical services individual. I mean, I think AVIXA did a brilliant job at integrating us with the Integrators Council this year. So, if you're new and coming to the industry or you started a new business, I mean, definitely, sign up for the Integrators Council, be part of the Integrators Council. You can then be part of the ITS subcommittee within the Integrators Council. But the bottom line is now our meetings together represent a true end-to-end, interaction and collaboration and community between our customers and us as vendors to them. So we learn a lot from each other. We can learn their pain points and try to supplement it. We learn what we can do better or different. They can learn the challenges that we have on their side so that they can learn to do something better or different. So again, it's the AVIXA community and the overall Integrators Council, and then all the councils represent this type of collaboration and community, but it helps us all get better together. That's the reality.
Better together.
Better together. That's the catchphrase. I know we're kind of wrapping up here, but I would be remiss to not ask about the skills matrix. We're talking about learning and growing. Can you tell me more about the skills matrix with ITS?
Yeah, basically it's a document that we all collectively put together. It represents the essentially a directory of the ITS members, and it shows their name, their contact information, website information, what services they provide, what certifications they have, and it's all collectively, both digitally and physically, in a binder and digitally. But it's a great resource for integrators to be able to kind of thumb through, and I need this service, or if they're still looking for something new. But it's also a way for the ITS member to be part of of a directory of services and be found, right? The phone book. For the Integrators Council.
Drew, any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, you could be an integrator in California, and you go, oh, we just do boardroom systems, that's it. But we've got this opportunity to do this massive DV LED video wall. Yeah. We need some help, and so you can look in this ITS, basically skills matrix, and you go, oh, hey, here's a local, ITS member that I can talk to, I can engage with, and they can help me with this, challenge that I've never dealt with before. So it's a great resource.
Yeah, and I'd add too that we as the ITS subcommittee, we also partner and collaborate together. So we too, we learn about each other, we get to know each other. We get referrals all the time, or we give referrals all the time. So we have a relationship with an integrator, and he's like, you said, I need this XYZ thing done in Arkansas or Orlando or whatever, and we can say, oh, we know someone that can support you in that, or sometimes they say, I want to work with you. Can you get a partner to help? And then we also go to the directory and go to the group and say, who can help us with this? So we work within each other. We collaborate well together, as well as offering that capabilities to the systems integrators.
Well, it's been awesome to kind of sit with both of you and have this intimate conversation about just the challenge the industry has and how the ITS can not only provide communication, perspective, reliability. So Drew, David, thank you so much for taking your time.
Yeah, thank you, Matt. Appreciate you hosting. Appreciate it.
Cheers.
Thank you.